Today I'm using some seed beads to make some beautiful pastel summery earrings. Hello, welcome back. My name's Carol. Now where I live in New Zealand, it's the depths of winter and it's raining and stormy today out my window. So I decided that it was time I made something summery, so I've got something to look forward to. And I know that a lot of my viewers in the US are in the middle of summer, so this might be a nice cool pair of earrings for you to wear while you enjoy the sunshine. What I've got in front of me are 6 different colours of 8O seed beads. And I chose these colours simply because they were pastel and they work really well together. Now you could choose any seed beads you like for this project. You definitely do not need to be using these particular seed beads. As well as that, I'm going to be using some 22 gauge wire. I'm going to be using some ear hooks and a couple of 4mm filigree beads here. In terms of tools, I've got my chain nose pliers, my round nose pliers, my flush cutters and a bead stopper. And I've got a ruler. Now remember that the top link in the description box below will take you to a blog post where I have laid out all of the supplies that you need and a step-by-step instruction guide. So if you're interested in purchasing these beads or making these earrings, go ahead and check out that link. All right, to get started, what we're going to do is cut a piece of wire. Now you do need a reasonably long piece of wire here. It's about, I think it's probably about 11 inches or 27 centimeters, something like that. I'm just going to cut mine about 11 inches. Now you do need to make sure that you have a flush cut on the end of your wire. Now if you don't know what a flush cut means, this side of your cutters will cut a flush cut, a straight across cut, and this side will cut a pointy cut. So what you need to do is make sure that you've cut the wire with this side of the pliers. And if it's not flush, all you need to do is come in with the cutters and cut off the tiniest amount. Just make sure you cover it so it doesn't fly away, because you don't want that to go on the floor and get into someone's foot. And it's, as you can see, I just cut, where did it go? I just cut off the tiniest piece. So I'm going to put that in my rubbish bin. Okay, so I'm taking my round nose pliers and I want to make a really, really tiny loop in the end here. So I'm going to hold the wire right at the tip of my pliers. And I'm just going to run my finger over the top to make sure it's not sticking up, which mine was. It's a little bit harder to get it within the jaws there when you're using such a point right at the end of your pliers. Okay, so I'm going to take my wire and hold it between my thumb and my forefinger. And I'm just going to twist my hand around as far as it will go. And if I need to, you can see there it's not quite closed. So I'm going to just put my pliers back in and twist it a little bit more. Now this time I want a loop that looks like a P. I don't want it to be centered on my wire. It's just sitting up a bit, so I'm just going to give it a bit of a squeeze. So there's my loop. Now before I start threading on my beads, what I want to do is put my pliers back into my loop. And I'm just going to start my spiral, and I'm going to do that just by going around a little bit, just a fraction. It doesn't need to be much, just so that the loop is kind of bent over a little bit, just like that. Now I'm going to start threading on my beads. So I've got them laid out in a design here of pink, cyan, I think this one's called papaya whip, purple, and then some salmon, or peach, and some mint. And the reason I laid them out in this order was just to balance them. So I've got a pink, a blue and a green, a white, and the purple just is, the white and the purple are kind of, or cream and purple, are kind of the odd ones. So I put them in the center together. So what you want to make sure is that this bead and this bead look good together, because when you start again, this one will be next door to that one. So that's the only thing to think about. So what we're going to do is start off with our pink, and I'm going to thread on one of each colour. Now if you wanted to, you could do this like an ombre effect, where you maybe started at a dark and went through to a light, maybe a dark blue, and went through to a light blue or something like that. I find these shot glasses, these little disposable shot glasses, are really, really good for storing beads. So there's my first run. Now what I'm going to do, actually, I need to repeat that 14 times. Now I've actually already done it because you didn't want to sit and watch me do that 14 times. So here's what I have now. And you can see I've got my loop on this end, and I've put my bead stopper quite close to my beads. So now what I'm going to do is start my spiral. It's a little tricky to get started, but once you get started, it will be fine. So I'm actually going to take my pliers to do this, and I'm going to hold my loop, just like that, and I'm going to push my pliers towards my beads. And then I'm going to move my pliers out again and push again. And that should be enough to get you started. So you can see there it's kind of bending back on itself. Now the rest I'm doing with my fingers. And I'm just going to spiral it around, trying to get it nice and close. Now you can see there it's not close. So what I'm going to do is come back in with my fingers and squeeze again. What you really need to do is kind of make it almost sit on top of the previous round. So we're going around and around and around. Oops. My bead stopper fell off and so did my beads, so I need to put them back on. Let me see. We finished at pink, so we need to go higher. Purple. I've lost my apricot one there somewhere, but that's all right, I can grab another one. So now you've seen what not to do. Now the reason that fell off was because my bead stopper was too close to my beads, so I'm going to put it a little bit further down, because as you twist them they will kind of move down. So lessons learned. Then let me learn them, and then you don't have to. All right, so just carrying on. Now it doesn't have to be perfect. Basically once it's done it will look really good. So just keep going around. Now what I suggest you do is make both earrings at the same time. So string your beads onto one piece and then string it onto another piece, and that way you can make sure they're the same length, because these beads aren't always consistent in size. So I'm going to take my bead stopper off now. I'm just going to fiddle with it a little bit more, because I just want to make sure that it's looking nice and neat. And I've done another one here, so we want them to look fairly similar. So I'm just going to put them side by one on top of the other, and you can see they're not quite the same, so I'm going to play with this one a little bit more to get it to be the same. You can see I'm kind of pulling on the wire so that it's going in nice and tight. And this is the thing about half hard wire, it's very malleable, so you can do all sorts of things with it. So the next thing I'm going to do is make a bend in my wire. So taking my pliers, my chain nose pliers, and I want to make sure that I'm really, really close to the beads. So make sure all the beads have run all the way up, so there's no gaps. And then hold your pliers there. And I've got like maybe a 2mm gap between the last bead and my pliers, and just bend the wire up. So that's what you're after. Then we're going to put on one of our filigree beads. Now I'm just going to put that bead stopper back on that one so the beads don't run away. So now I love these filigree beads, but they are quite hard sometimes to get the wire to go through in the right place. If you are thinking that it's not centered on the wire, just roll your finger around, roll the bead around with using your finger like that. And you can see mine's centered on the wire now. So what I need to do next is I want to make a loop in the top. So I'm going to bend the wire back towards me just by putting my thumb on top of that bead and bending the wire over. So that is what I have now. And you can see it's sitting up a bit. We'll fix that later. We don't need to worry about that. Now I'm going to take my flush cutters and I'm going to cut that wire at about 1 centimetre from that bend, holding both sides. Just like that. Now I'm going to take my round nose pliers and make a loop. Now if you haven't made loops before, or you need some help with loops, this is a bigger loop than the first one. What I suggest you do is go and watch my perfect loop video. It will tell you all about how to make a good loop and also how to troubleshoot if you have issues with your loops. Because I know when I first started, I had all sorts of issues making loops. I thought I was never ever going to learn how. It's not quite centered, so I'm just pulling it back. So there's my earring component so far. By the way, if you are interested in making the jewellery I'm wearing today, I'm wearing my emerald earrings that I made in the clip-on earrings video. Now you'll notice I put the hooks back on, so I converted them back from a clip-on to a hook earring. And I'm also wearing my blue and green bracelet, which has some imitation gemstones and some bicones and all sorts of wonderful beads on there. So if you want to make either of those, I'll leave you links in the description box and up the top here. Okay, so now we have our earring component made, and I'm going to actually do this one as well. So you get to see me do it again. So the first thing I need to do, obviously, is put my bend in the top, just holding the wire there with my with the beads, as I said, about a 2mm gap, and bending it up. Now if it's not straight up like that one wasn't, it's okay, you can just bend it again. And now I'm going to pop on my filigree bead. This is what I'm talking about. I managed to get that one on through the wrong hole, and you can see that it's not straight, so I'm going to have another crack at that. The trouble is these filigree beads have lots of holes and your wire wants to go through the wrong one. But there you go, now it's on straight. Then I'm going to take my pliers and make a bend at the top. So there we go, that's what I have. Now I'm going to cut my wire, as I said, to about 1 centimetre, and making my loop with my round nose pliers. Sometimes when you make loops you need to squash them flat because you've gone kind of just off a little bit, that's okay. Alright, so now I have 2 earrings, just want to make sure that they are the same, which they are. Now I'm just going to put on my ear wire. So I'm going to take my chain nose pliers, and this is the side of the ear wire that opens, so I'm going to support the rest of the ear wire between my forefinger and my thumb. I'm going to hold the earring loop on that side and twist my hand down. I'm going to pop that earring on and close up that. Now I haven't quite finished yet because I have to check something, so I'll do this one as well. It takes it 2 seconds to do. I need to make sure that my earrings are going to hang right. So I've got that one that way, and they are the same. So I actually want this one to go on the other way so that they are hanging opposite. So that's what I want. So now I'll do up my ear wire. So there's my beautiful pastel spiral earrings. They remind me of candy, you know, the candy cane houses that you see in the movies sometimes. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this really quick tutorial. Remember that all of the materials will be listed in the blog post, which is the top link in the description box below. And if you enjoyed this one and you would like to see more, remember to subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a new tutorial, and also give me that thumbs up. Also check us out on Facebook and Instagram as well. Thank you so much for watching today. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you again soon.